Today, I'm going to take you through my favorite startup draft strategy, and that is the Rebuilder's Blueprint. I'm going to give you all the guidelines you need to know when to use this, how to put it into action effectively, and how to build up through the startup draft a great roster that can develop into a juggernaut. Before we get too deep into the strategy, I want to point out when you want to use this strategy. Not every strategy works in every single draft room. I see too many people make the mistake of entering a startup draft thinking, this is how I'm going to do it. And that doesn't always work. You need to react to how your lobby is drafting. So the first consideration here is in the first 3 rounds, you are not committing to a draft strategy. You are evaluating your draft room. You're going to take the best player available in these early rounds for the most part. And I'll outline what you do in the early rounds of this startup draft strategy. It's not counter to a more general approach, so you aren't running into any issues there. Good indications that your draft is well suited for you going with this Rebuilder Blueprint strategy is that people are trying to trade up in the draft, sending rookie picks to move up a few picks in the draft to go get their guys. That's a great sign. Also, if you see veterans going earlier in the draft, those 27, 28-year-old players, they're kind of on the fringe getting towards those older years. If they're going earlier than expected, that's a great sign. In the first few rounds, guys like Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, these older running backs are a great gauge for whether your draft is valuing older players. If they are valuing older players, it is your time to strike with this Rebuilder Blueprint. There's some indications even before the draft starts too. If you're in a league that's a bunch of new Dynasty players that previously were playing redraft, maybe you came from your home league with these guys playing redraft and now you've transitioned into a Dynasty league as well, that's a great sign that players are going to treat it too much like redraft. They're not used to the Dynasty valuations, so you can take advantage and go ahead and get those value youth players. And the last consideration, probably the most important, is whether your league is actually going to last. If your league got thrown together last second, someone posted on a bunch of sites, Reddit, the sleeper forums, trying to find people just to join a league because they wanted to draft, probably not a well-designed league that's going to last. If this league came to be over a couple days, weeks, well-designed, a good set of bylaws, a trusted commissioner, that's a better league. Even better from that is if there's people in this league you personally know, that's the best chance of your Dynasty league lasting an extended period of time. Because if your league folds after 1-2 seasons, that's just not conducive to success for a rebuilding startup draft strategy. All right, let's get into the strategy here. So first, the overall guidelines that you want to follow in your draft. It's good here to look at positional values. So starting at your quarterbacks, if you're in a super flex league, the quarterbacks are going to be more important. Most leagues are super flex, so most of my focus here will be on those super flex leagues. Quarterbacks, they can take a few years to work out in the NFL. There's a few, the Jaden Daniels of the world, that hit right away, have great rookie seasons. That can happen, but a lot of quarterbacks take time to develop. So you want to get them early in your rebuild so they can develop on your rosters. While contending rosters would be frustrated with that lack of production, you have time to build up that roster. Running backs, on the other hand, hit right when they enter the NFL. As soon as they get into a starting job, running backs have the easiest time transitioning into the NFL. That means that you can save the running back position till the end of your rebuild once you're ready to go into your contention window. Obviously, all of this, it depends on context, but generally speaking, running backs you want to save till later in your rebuild. Also, to keep in mind that running backs have a shorter shelf life in the NFL. They play a shorter career than other positions. So drafting them early in your rebuild, drafting even 25, 26-year-old running backs during your rebuild, they might not be super effective. They might be at the end of their career by the time you're contending. Now, wide receivers are kind of in between. They hit fairly early. Usually year 2 is the breakout for wide receivers, although there's lots of rookie wide receivers that are very effective right off the bat. Wide receivers also have a very long shelf life. So you don't need to stock up on all the wide receivers early in your rebuild, but you can bring in wide receivers to your rebuild because they'll likely still be effective into their late 20s on your roster once it becomes a contending roster. Tight ends generally take a while to develop, probably the longest of any position, maybe outside of quarterback. But that is with the exception of the elite few. In recent years, we've seen guys like Brock Bowers. This year, Tyler Warren, Colson Loveland. Before that, Sam Laporta. Rookie year breakouts at the tight end position. That is a new trend, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. But generally, that's reserved for the elite few. Most tight ends take until year 3, year 4 in the league to really break out from a fantasy perspective. That's a positional focus. Second general guideline: young players more valuable than old players to you. That one should be pretty obvious, but still worth saying. Third here, and this is an extremely overlooked point that I really want to emphasize, is that players that are expected to miss time next season when you're entering your startup draft, they are gold for your rebuilding rosters. It just makes sense that these contending rosters don't want to have a zero on their bench for the first 6-8 weeks of the season, maybe the whole season. Guys last year like Tank Dell or Brandon Ayuk fell super far in drafts because people knew that they weren't going to be a very effective player in 2025. But now going into 2026, you have someone on your roster that could be increasing in value just by coming back to play. Also keep in mind, early in your rebuild, you don't want to score points. So these players that otherwise have some pretty good value that aren't scoring points, super valuable to you. The last general guideline I will highlight here is just how much value picks hold for you. These rookie picks into the future, you're going to, during the startup draft, want to trade away some of your picks, move down some of your picks to accumulate more rookie draft capital. These players can turn into extremely successful players on your roster, hold a lot more value than when you traded for them, the rookie picks that is. They also don't score points, which is very important to you early in your rebuild, something you're going to want to keep in mind. All right, time for actionable advice for in your startup drafts. Let's start with rounds 1 to 3. I'm going to call this the early round strategy. Okay, early in your draft, this is not the time to take big risks. Like I said earlier, here you're evaluating still. You aren't 100% sure you're going to go with your rebuilding strategy. Take young wide receivers, young quarterbacks in your Superflex leagues. They don't have to be rookies or even sophomores, but you don't want to take the 32-year-old quarterback, the 28-year-old wide receiver. Aim for that 23 to 26-year-old range at quarterback and wide receiver. They're going to hold value the best. They are your best assets to get early in drafts. The only time you're taking a running back in these first 3 rounds, while thinking about the rebuilding strategy, is if they fall way past ADP and they are an extremely young running back. Think Ashton Genty. If you've got rookies in this draft, maybe Jeremiah Love at the end of the 3rd, or Bijan Gibbs in the 2nd round because they fell out of the 1st. Running back is the easiest position to hold off on early in your rebuild and get some veterans in the door, some high potential rookies later in your rebuild, and it allows you to take a lot lower scores early in your rebuild when you're trying to prioritize raising the value of your picks. So if at all possible, there's a lot of opportunity cost to taking these running backs, so try to avoid taking running backs early in the draft unless an absolute steal of a value. Tight ends, there's just too much value late in the draft for me to really consider them early on here. In the early rounds, you also want to trade back to accumulate rookie picks. You don't want to trade your picks outright. These first 3 rounds, the picks are more valuable than a random first round rookie pick. So unless you're getting a package of multiple firsts and maybe some seconds on there in future rookie picks, you do not want to outright trade away your picks. You're looking to trade down. When it comes to valuing your trade downs, it's going to matter a lot of who's on the board, who's available, the teardrops in your leagues, and your league settings. So if you want advice on specific trade down packages, what you should use, go to our Patreon, subscribe to our Patreon page, our Fantasy Trading Room Patreon. We are going to give you a ton of advice in our Discord. Our Discord's a great place for you to ask myself and other Dynasty analysts we have there specific questions, evaluate your trades, how to approach your draft. So that's my best advice. We actually have a free trial going on, so go ahead, try that out risk-free. As for general advice here, in the first round, your picks are super valuable compared to the rest of the draft. I wouldn't move back more than about 8 picks to pick up a future rookie first. Keep in mind, when you're acquiring a future rookie first, it's probably not an early first. You are giving someone a premium asset early in the draft, an extra premium asset in the startup draft. They have a higher chance of being a contender early on, and this being a later rookie pick. Once you get into the second round, you can move back a little bit more, maybe a full 12 picks, a full round. And then once you get into the third round, a round or round and a half, trading down to acquire that future first. It is a reasonable rule of thumb. All right, let's move on to your mid-round strategy here. This is rounds 4 to 10. All right, number one focus here, acquiring future first-round rookie picks. These mid-rounds are a great place. This is the value to just outright trade a few picks away, get future first, accumulate those rookie picks that are so valuable to this strategy. I generally say that an early sixth of a startup round, an early sixth round pick, is about the value of a random first round pick. Now, to you, it might be a little bit more valuable. You might be willing to trade away a late fifth, a mid fifth, to get those future first because you value those rookie picks so much in this strategy. But I would aim for your round 6 to 8 picks, those ones being traded one for the future first round rookie picks. And what's the next best thing in this range to rookie picks is just taking rookies. Rookies in this range, if in your draft you're drafting rookies, sometimes you'll be drafting kickers as placeholders for rookie picks. Those are things you absolutely want to acquire in this strategy. Look at my draft from last year. Here's a draft that I did last year, a startup draft. In the 4 to 10 round range, over 20% of the picks were rookies in that range. A lot of rookies going in here. Think of they would be first round rookie picks to early second round rookie picks in your rookie drafts, but because it's in the startup, they're usually going in this range. Super valuable players to you. If they perform really well early on, they appreciate in value. Maybe you can flip them. Maybe you just have cornerstone assets. If they take a little bit longer to develop, that's okay for you. You're not a contender. You don't have to sell off for whatever you can get. You can give them some time on your roster to develop. So that's why rookies can be more valuable to you in this range. And if you're not taking rookies in this range, the other target is these mid-career guys, specifically the wide receivers or quarterbacks. I find that are seeing a change in situation somehow, that have a potential to have a breakout or a resurgence, whatever it may be. Guys drafted in this area last year. George Pickens was taken in the 7th. Now he's more in the 3rd round value. It was obvious with him going from the Steelers to the Cowboys. There was a chance for a big change here. And a potential big rise in his value. Jalen Waddle behind an old Tyreek Hill. There was always this chance that Tyreek would retire, leave, get injured, which happened. That led to him increasing in value by a couple rounds. Sam Darnold, another one, changing teams. Could his value increase? And yes, it did. So this is the area in the draft where you could get some big increases in value. Even if these aren't the super young players that you want to build around as a rebuilder, they're players that can increase in value, and you can trade away for more ammo, for more rookie picks, for more young players to develop on your roster. The last general target here, I'll say, is the younger QBs in this range. Usually once you're past those first few rounds in your Superflex drafts, the main quarterbacks, the cornerstone quarterbacks are gone off the board. But there will still be some young QBs in this range that maybe are frustrating to contending teams because they're still working things out, but are good for you to develop on your roster. And maybe you get that year 2, year 3, year 4 breakout at the quarterback position, which does absolutely happen. And that's a huge value boost for your team. All right, let's move to the mid to late round strategy here. I'm going to consider this round 11 to 17. Now, you'll notice I haven't recommended taking running backs at all up to this stage. Before round 10, 11, I don't really think that getting running backs on this kind of build is a good thing. Running backs are, like I said, a shorter duration of their careers. They impact teams right away once they come into the league. So you can wait till you're about to go into your contention window to draft some rookie running backs. And those older running backs that are still productive but lose a lot of value because of their age, you can go ahead and acquire them easier. Also, like I said, if you don't have good running backs on your team early in your rebuild, you're going to get low scores from those couple running back positions on your roster and your starting lineup, and that's going to help your draft position. But here we are in the mid to late rounds, and running backs are finally a target for you. Here you can add a running back with almost every pick in these rounds, I think, with this strategy. Right here, you're going to be targeting high upside backup running backs. The running backs who are behind an incumbent, that are obviously the backup, not getting a whole lot of fantasy points to start the season. But if an injury happens at the running back position, and it is the most injury prone position, then these guys are set to work into a great workload. Even without injuries, these are the kind of guys that once their contracts are up, they could sign with a new RB needy team and get a starting job there, or could even work their way into the starting job on their own team if some things break the right way. These are great for your team because they're not scoring points right away. If they do start scoring points because of an injury ahead of them, because they've taken over the starting job, whatever it may be, you can trade them and they're going to be much more valuable than this startup pick that you spent on it. You're going to be accumulating value on your roster. Or maybe they don't break out right away and it's year 2, year 3 after the startup draft, and that's when they get a starting job, when they work in and gain value, getting more, scoring more fantasy points, and that's when you're hitting your stride, getting into your contention window, which is perfect for your team. And remember, different from a player who was good the whole time, they weren't scoring any points that first year or maybe first 2 years when your goal was high draft picks, not high fantasy points. And if you're not targeting these backup running backs, if maybe that has dried up a little bit, young tight ends are very good in this range. You can get even rookie tight ends to let develop on your roster. Maybe those year 2, year 3 guys who haven't broken out yet. Accumulate 3, 4, 5 tight ends on your roster with some upside. And then once they start to break out, gain value, you can either move them or find your cornerstone to build around once you get into your contention window. And finally, the late round strategy. This is rounds 18 plus. You're probably over 200 picks into your draft at this point. Keep in mind, these guys aren't worth very much. That's why they're still on the board. Most of these guys are going to hit waivers at some point or just kind of be at the end of your bench, not really doing a whole lot. With that in mind, any value you can find is great. So the guys that I like here, still any backup running backs, if there's some that maybe in more of a murky situation, but backup running backs are very valuable here. Any rookies left on the board, even if they were maybe like 5th, 6th round guys in the NFL draft, those day 3 picks that don't project to be very good, still good dart throws to keep on your roster with this type of build. And finally, the backup quarterbacks. These are a great place to find some quick value on these rebuilding rosters. A backup quarterback who takes over as the starter because of injury ahead of him or a trade or whatever it may be. These quarterbacks shoot up in value. So right now, you can't trade a round 18 plus pick in the startup draft for probably even like a 3rd rounder in your rookie drafts. Definitely not a 2nd rounder. These backup quarterbacks, if they get thrust into a starting job, if the starter ahead of them goes down, you can trade them to the team whose starter got injured, and maybe that's a QB needy team still trying to contend, and they'll get desperate to go acquire these quarterbacks. It happens all the time. This is something you will see across Dynasty Leagues consistently. People sending out a 3rd for a backup quarterback who took over as the starter, or maybe even a 2nd in a case where it's a good offense, they project to still score some good points, or that team is really desperate for a QB. If this is the draft strategy you're implementing, rookie picks are super valuable to you as well. So go ahead and embrace the scouting of rookies. It's an important part of Dynasty for everyone, but especially the rebuilding teams. They're accumulating picks. That's kind of the specialty of our channel here. We have a ton of content on the 2026 rookie class. We'll have early content for the 2027 rookie class. So go ahead and subscribe here. If you subscribe on our Patreon, you'll get our 2026 rookie guide, which is out now. We're constantly updating it with new information. We already have 40 plus prospect profiles on there. So if going and scouring the tape on college prospects is too much for you, our rookie guide will sum it all up, give you the rankings, tell you what the players are all about, their college career, that sort of stuff. And that is the rebuilding blueprint, the rebuilder's blueprint draft strategy in your dynasty startup drafts. After that, it's going to be focused on the rookie drafts, on trading players to acquire more picks and more young players that could develop on your roster. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel because we're going to continue to provide you content on what to do after the startup draft, and that's where it really matters. This startup draft, a great foundation, but the championship teams are built afterwards through trades, through rookie drafts. That's what it's all about.